definitely be fighting every other week if he was on some bullshit like that while living right next door to me. But after reading up on some articles about this guy and who he is, I couldn't find much. Like, information about his life and his personal background was pretty sparse. However, after doing a little digging, I found out that this guy Zach was emancipated at 17 and was a soldier in the army serving as a National Guard private at 18. Which is ironic, since being a part of the National Guard means your job is to serve and protect your state, country, and community, and not terrorizing and being a nuisance to your next door neighbors. I also found some images of him from his TikTok account that makes him look like a straight up egocentric kid. As you can see here in this image, it says 350Z owner, I love 5W-30. Is that a Tome dog? Society, neighbors hate you, cuts everybody off. What are blinkers? Road rage, loud exhaust. My DE will smoke your HR. Is this how douchebags communicate with each other? In another image, it says people in the army, because he's a National Guard in the army. He says, drives a Mustang or Camaro with 20% APR. I can drink more than you. Gets called stuck up, always loud, chair force, anger issues, has guns, likes to party. So clearly this guy's an asshole. And he's making it out to seem as if these personality traits are actually cool. Pretty weird. And another image, it says owning a Corvette. By the way, I don't know how you have all these cars at 17, but I guess it's good for him. Daddy's money. What's the speed limit? Want to race at the red light? Gets heated on for having a nice car. Ew, a Mustang stuck up. Yeah, this guy is basically like the epitome of everything I hate about people, personified. He apparently also has a history of simple assault, terroristic threats, and criminal mischief on his juvenile record. So when taking that into account as well, Zach is obviously a troublemaker. And you want to know what the crazy thing is? The Durham family was trying to sort this whole thing out the legal way via the courts and through the law enforcement, but the police weren't helping very much and said courts closed. As stated here, the Durhams, their lawyers wrote, sought help from the Vineland police several times, but were repeatedly told that they could not sign a complaint against Mr. Latham since the courts were closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. And by the way, I get that the coronavirus was very tragic, is very tragic, as it's still going on. And, you know, we got to take it seriously. But are we really just going to sit here and disregard the legal complaints from a person who's in desperate need of help from a dickhead next door neighbor who's obviously terrorizing them? Like, where do you get help if not from law enforcement? The deceased father's legal team notes that a judge and several cops live in the area and knew about the past trouble Latham had caused. Latham even shared a video of a police officer confirming that he won't take any action even though he saw video evidence. It's unclear which incident he is addressing.
Face, we would arrest you.
But you won't do anything even though you saw video proof, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
For your video, that is correct.
Thank you. Say what's up, TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah, say what's up.
So my question is, what do you do when you're trying to do things the right way, but there's no one around to help you and your family, especially after 2 whole years? Well, you try and take matters into your own hands. Unfortunately, though, things went sideways for Mr. Durham when he tried to do just that. Because on May 4th, being the asshole that Zach Latham was, Zach allegedly swerved his car onto the side of the road where Mr. Durham's 17-year-old son was riding his bike. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Mr. Durham had had enough and decided to finally confront Zach face to face like a man after 2 years. And especially considering that Zach was no longer a child and was now 18, I suppose he was no longer in fear of being charged with child abuse if things turned physical. As stated here though, after Zach, basically tried to hit his son, Mr. Durham pulled his truck into the street to block Latham's truck. Catherine Durham, his wife, recording the exchange on her phone, challenged Latham over the incident involving her son. Video footage shows Latham throwing an elbow at Catherine Durham, pushing her back, knocking the phone from her hand, and speeding off toward his home. And then when Latham got to his house, his wife, because he's actually married at 18, which is weird, who was recording the scene with her phone, walked down the driveway to confront the Durham's sons as they came onto the property, because the whole family was actually involved in this situation. They went over there like a squad trying to confront Zach about, just everything that happened over the course of 2 years. Sarah Latham, Zach's wife, told the Durham sons that they had better back up because they were not going to like what was coming out of the house. So obviously she was threatening the entire family. Soon after, William Durham, their father and the husband, arrived with his truck. Latham's public defenders say in their filing that he and his wife can be heard on the video footage clearly telling the Durhams several times to get off the property, and they are not welcome. The Durhams, their hands visibly empty, continued to approach, the prosecution filing says. So now the Durhams had crossed the line from their property to Latham's grandparents' property. But here's where things took a turn for the worst. Because apparently after he got back home after speeding off earlier in the story, he actually went inside his house, got a couple of knives and his stun gun, and came back outside to confront the Durham family. So clearly this kid wanted to fight. He wanted to smoke. He wanted to get down and dirty, and, you know, things went bad. So yeah, after going back outside, he confronted the family and fired his stun gun at one of the sons. It then says William Durham then grabbed at Latham, who slashed him in the right arm with his knife before retreating in his garage. So obviously, this is exactly where things started to go really crazy. Both Mr. Durham and Zach were in the heat of the moment. Their adrenaline levels must have been through the roof, and they were in full-on battle mode. But it didn't stop there, because after that happened, apparently Mr. Durham had followed Zach toward the garage that Zach was heading to. It then says here, a brief but violent melee then ensued, during which the stun gun was fired repeatedly and Latham's wife urged him to drop the knife. So yeah, you can imagine. Sarah, this 18-year-old kid's wife, was recording the whole thing. And once I reveal why she was recording this entire thing to begin with, you guys will be disgusted. Unfortunately though, in a horrific line of events, Mr. Durham was stabbed under the armpit, puncturing his lungs in what was thought to be a wound that killed him. Perry, Latham's lawyer, did not respond to requests for comment on the suggestion that his client had lured William Durham to his death in hopes of gaining social media notoriety. Because as it stands right now, their lawyers, the lawyers that represent Mr. Durham's family, they genuinely believe that the whole reason for Zach continuously trying to mess the play in the way that things ended up in the situation. You know, Zach's own narcissism, ego, mixed in with the weird-ass people in his comment section telling him to continue to keep fucking with his neighbors, led directly to this tragedy. But in my opinion, it's not even TikTok's fault necessarily, because in my opinion, TikTok is just a symptom of a larger pre-existing condition that we've had in our society ever since people figured out that they could gain fame from social media. You know, the idea of getting famous on social media is like an intoxicating drug that takes over your entire body once it enters your bloodstream. And just the thought of being able to do something wild to capture the attention of millions of people across the world really has got some people hooked like a fish on bait, unaware of the impending doom about to come their way once they're captured by a fisherman. But in this case, that fisherman is TikTok. But yeah, Zachary Latham, as of right now, was charged with first-degree manslaughter after claiming his actions were in self-defense, and unsurprisingly, Mr. Durham's wife and 2 children were charged with simple assault and trespassing, since they did in fact cross over to Zachary Latham's property and, you know, did contribute to the altercation that happened. But their lawyers, they want the charges against the family dropped and Latham charged with first-degree murder, because their theory is basically the same as mine. As it says here in this article, Latham, they say, deliberately drew William Durham to his death in a bid for social media celebrity. In a June letter to Webb McRae, the lawyers, Diane M. Ruberton and Robert R. Simmons, noted that Latham's wife, Sarah Latham, recorded the brawl on her phone and said she did so because it was her and Latham's intent to post these videos to TikTok and become TikTok famous. Yeah, pretty wild stuff. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video, let me know down below. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram.
Am I starting the next chapter?
Am I limiting my future?
Am I growing my family?
Am I finally done with IVF?
Why would she leave me out here by myself? Hey.
Oh no! Oh no! Then there's this guy, and he's pinging. He's having the time of his life. He's like, "Hey, what? You homeless too? You want to be friends?" No boy, it's Joynan, and welcome back to Shane Plays. He does these Roblox animations with the best voice. Get ready, guys. This is gonna be a real tearjerker.
Joey! Get down here
Hashtag lazy.
right now, right this instant.
Run, dude, run.
Hi, what's going on?
What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on.
What's going on?
dishes, then piled up to the heavens. What is going on here?
I have to go to school. I don't have time to do stuff right now.
No, you have time if I say you have time, and you need to clean right this instant.
She's really angry with him about being a little bit lazy. And she's wearing a t-shirt that says hashtag lazy. Voice acting 10 out of 10? That's what I'm saying. This is the superior voice acting channel. There's good voice acting content on YouTube, and then there's Shane Plays.
Look, kid, I am tired of your attitude. After all I've done for you, after all the money you've cost me, and all the things you put me through, I can't stand you. You are out of here, mister.
What do you mean out of here?
What are you, some kind of stupid? Did you not hear me correctly?
Are you really kicking me out of the house for nothing?
For nothing? How about for ruining my...
For nothing? How about for ruining my life? We're not doing your dishes.
I really don't care anymore. You're the worst kid ever, and I want you out.
You're the worst kid ever, and I want you out. You didn't do the dishes. You are simply the worst. The voice acting, though, am I right? The voice acting. Sea-Dog VA. Got nothing on these guys. And that's a challenge.
Just can't believe this. I can't believe I'm getting kicked out.
Well, get packing, dude.
I can't believe this. I can't believe my mean mom kicked me out. She's the worst person ever.
Oh, check it out. This is some epic clothing. This is epic fashion. Look at this Guy Fieri hair, and he is epic.